Good day, good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or what have you, wherever you happen to be. Welcome to the Mad Poet Show. I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. Thank you for being here, because we're having fun. We're drinking water, playing guitar, Mad Poet stuff. Right now we're playing my 59th album. It's titled Hard Six. This next song is called The Night of the Vampire's Forlorn Revolution. Hey, Memories, tuning in from YouTube. Thanks so much for being here, lady. Hope you're doing well. And of course, thank you everybody, wherever you happen to be coming in from. We do appreciate it. And by we, I mean me, because I'm pretty much a one-person operation. But of course, all my other viewers appreciate the participation as well. So I guess it's a we. We. Whew. Let's keep this party going here. How about a little bit of D minor? Anyone have a problem with that? I hope not, because the next song is, in fact, in D minor. This is The Tides of Sorrow. past the tides of sorrow. We'll slow her down a little bit here. Hope nobody minds about that either. This one is in A minor, looks like pretty basic stuff. This is called A Myth of Silence. What do we got coming up here? Oh, yes. Picking the pace right back on up. I just want to make sure my chats are in good order. I'm not convinced my chats are ever going to completely be in order as long as I do these streams, because these are just completely insane, just the amounts of them. But it looks like everything is at least reasonable and viable at the time being, for the time being, at the present time. See if I can get my grammar in order here. And this next song is The Circus of the Serpent. That song's freaking awesome. If I do say so myself, which I do. Because I'm so vain, I probably think this song is about me. This one's in C sharp minor. It's called Why Do you forget your dreams? Tricky G. Thank you for the follow on kick.com. Much appreciated. That is where I'm actually seeing growth as a streamer. So thank you very much for coming in, and thank you for the compliment. I'm glad that you are enjoying the show while I'm dropping my guitar picks, but that's all right, because you know what? I got more guitar picks. I got a whole freaking jar full of guitar picks. I'm good there. Hope everybody is doing awesome today. Thank you very much for being a part of the Mad Poet Show. We are playing my 59th album right now. The album is titled Hard 6. When we get done with this one, we're going to flip over and we're going to play my 39th album, which is called Graceful Insanity. I haven't played that one for a long time. I had some synth issues that I had to work out. And so over the last week or so, I've been working on my synth issues. Sometimes we have synth issues. And so I got Roswell up and running. I played that one yesterday and earlier in the week, and I'll be playing Graceful Insanity. And I also played, Ship of Theseus for the first time ever, which was awesome. That was a really fun one to run through. So it's good having my synths. I kind of got some workarounds I got to do with these older synths that on some albums I can just bypass them, and on other albums I got to go do all these crazy workarounds. So I've been doing that. I like guitars. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that before about me, but it's true. I do. And water. I freaking love water. I like swimming. I like taking showers. I like drinking water. I like taking baths. I don't like doing laundry. I'm a weirdo. That's the takeaway. This guy is a freaking weirdo. All right, let's keep this party going here. This particular song, when I do my guitar solos, I'm improvising. I've talked about this a few times before, but we got some new people here. So I'm improvising these guitar solos. Of course, the backing tracks, the drums, and other guitars and stuff are recorded in advance. What I will do for my solos is I will write a motif. And so on this is one of my favorite, this is probably one of my two favorite motifs. This and the other one that I think I would put on the top of the list is the one from 18 Iron Chains to Bind the Wicked King off of An Innocent Assassin, my 21st album. So this one, what you'll hear in here, this is something to listen for, is you'll hear me do this. So that's the only part of the guitar solo that I have actually composed in advance. And that kind of sets the theme or the mood for what I may do with my improvisational adventurings through Mad Poet Land. Something like that. Anyway, let's see what happens with this. This piece is called And You Laugh Quietly. Pius 7 coming in on kick.com says, do you scream at all? Yeah, I mean, I scream when I'm being chased by bears. I scream when I am the starlet in a horror film. I scream with joy when I get mail. No, I kid. I have done some guttural kind of growls in some heavy metal projects in the past, and I'm not against that. I don't know if it was you or someone else who mentioned that they would like to hear some singing, and that is something I am actively working on, is to get my voice to where I'm happy with it. And it's been an interesting journey. There has been identified a genetic component for whether or not you can easily sing on pitch. Clearly, I do not have this. I have worked out a lot, really, in the last 5 years. I've been working on my vocals for 20 years. And part of the problem, according to some, is that I did not sing as a child. So it's a really good thing to get your children, if you have them, singing early, because it's actually much easier to develop your pitch perception. So, it's part of the game, but I've definitely gotten a lot better at it, and I do like the growls. If I incorporate growls into my current work, it will be fairly sparse. I like to have more clean vocals than growling vocals. The screams, yeah, a little bit. We'll see what goes on with that. I do definitely want to expand beyond just instrumental music. I love playing guitar, obviously, but what I would really like to do is more kind of power metal with vocals. And I am writing some lighter albums that will also be vocal albums. Let's see, Tricky G, our new follower, says pre-programmed DMX light show with the Fog, you legend. You know about DMX. You are someone who's at least a little bit in the system if you know what DMX is. For those who don't know, DMX is a protocol that's used for programming stage lights. And so essentially what happens here is I pre-program every light for turn on or turn off and make it this color. So basically every time you see a light going, that is set up in advance. It's not just sound activated. I'm actually not loud enough to activate the sound in this room because I don't want to blow my ears out like that. It's loud enough to get into it, but that's about it. So Kenjaro14, welcome back. Good to see you again. Miss you too. Thanks for being here. And glad that you made it to the Mad Poet Show today. Always great to have people cruising on in. And you came in at a good time, Kenjaro, and you followed at a good time, Tricky G, and you came in at a good time, Pius 7. Anyone else who's here, you're here at a good time because, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the G sharp minor portion of the show. You are welcome. This piece is called A Face in the Window. Kinjaro 14. That's kind of cool. I didn't know you could do a followage command. I don't know how my own bots and stuff work, so that's kind of cool that you can do that. 1 month, 19 days, 20 hours since you followed. Very cool. Kinjaro 14 says, we've been waiting for you to come back. I have been streaming almost every day. I'm not sure if there is a place in, I don't know Kick very well. I don't know if there's a place to make sure that you get notifications, but you might want to go through your settings on there and make sure you're getting your notifications correctly, because I have been streaming most days over the last several months. So not sure what the story is there, but I'm glad that you are back, because I always like having people, you know, watching what I do. And Thrashto, thank you for the follow on Kick.com. Thanks for being here, much appreciated. Hope you are enjoying the show. And Kinjaro 14, thank you for the compliment on the lights. The lights, you know, I was talking about there. You know, I program every one of those light changes, and the light changes, without a doubt, is the single most boring aspect of what I do. Not just with music, but in my life. It is like the most boring thing. And it's one of the reasons that, right now, I think I've got about 20, maybe 21 albums that are doable for shows. I've got the lights ready. I've got, you know, all the production ready and everything is in place. I think I've got about 20 or 21 albums out of 66. And I would love to add more of those in. There are several albums I'm like, I'd really like to play this one live, but I don't want to sit and program freaking lights. It's probably from starting to program lights to actually being show ready is usually around 8 to 10 hours of just the most boring possible work. It's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And I do it, but I need to get myself into like a habit of just like programming lights on like one song every day, which isn't too much, and I would have a lot adding up. But yeah, it is a lot of work, but it's totally worth it. Yeah, and Tricky G was mentioning DMX, so probably knows a little bit about what goes into light programming and setting this stuff up. So yeah, it's a lot, but like it's, you know, I love the results. You know, I feel like my light show really helps this kind of be more of a concert experience, which is what I want people to feel from my shows. Anyway, let me just check a couple other quick things here. Make sure I know what's going on in my system. Looks like we're in good shape. Good, a little of this, a little of that. Looking good over there. Okie doke. So we're going to slow her down a little bit. We got 3 songs left on this album, but then we're going to switch over and we're going to play Graceful Insanity. Totally awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm glad that it shines through for people, because it is a lot of work, and if it ended up sucking, it wouldn't be worth it. So like I said, after this, we're going to flip over and do another full album. Big dream for the studio room. Yeah, and this is my studio room. And like I've said before, you guys aren't really seeing the cool half of the room. You guys are seeing the performance half of the room. This side here, where the cameras are sitting and all my audio monitors and my video monitors and my recording desk and my interfaces and all of the microphones and the craziness. This is where the command center is the awesome part. Someday, I don't know, maybe I'll do a video of a studio tour kind of thing, so you guys see what's happening on the other half, see how the other half lives. Anyway, let's keep this going. We're going to slow her down a little bit. Where can I hear your music? Go to themadpoet.net. In fact, let me just type this into chat here. Themadpoet.net. I get that right? Yes. I'm not sure if that will come through as a link, but copy paste it and And the cameras have a good angle. Well, thank you. That's something I feel like is kind of one of my weak points because I'm not a photographer and I'm not much of a videographer. So getting the camera angles right is something I don't feel I'm always. And it's a little tricky too because like this camera that I'm in right now, camera 1. So I've got my primary monitor is right in front of me and the camera's above it. And so it's like if that angle of that camera just drops down a little bit, it starts to be obscured by that computer monitor. And then I've got my microphone here, and if this is out too far, then my microphone gets in the camera. And so I really got to be and then like this one, camera 3, I think it is. This one is just on the edge of it here. It's just enough that there's a speaker there that would be, if I went any further this way, then that would get in the way. And then this one here is actually pretty easy to work with. This is camera 4. That one's pretty simple, but I do got to make sure I don't put my water too far over. Fortunately, I got enough room now that I got plenty of room to place my water. And then camera 2 is also, that one's fairly easy. That's just sitting on top of my desk there. And so, but yeah, I do got to be cautious with the camera angles. It's fun stuff. And it looks like we got at least one vote for a studio tour. I've had a few people ask about that in the past. And I have definitely considered the possibility of doing some actual just video content. I've got a few things that I would like to talk about. Some of my, how I approach music theory and how my influences have influenced me and how other people could use that in with their influences and like how to be influenced, things like that. How do you handle the camera switching during my sets? So that is all done with MIDI. So it's actually the lights and the cameras are all done with MIDI information, which if you know DMX, you may be familiar with MIDI. For those who don't know, MIDI is musical instrument digital interface. And it's a protocol for, basically, the way to think about this is you ever see one of those old player pianos that have the paper running through it? And the paper makes the keys go. Basically, every time in that paper, a hole is punched, a little bit of air comes through, and that air going through tells it, let this key go down. That's all it is. And so in MIDI, we do the same thing. We have a virtual piano roll. We actually call it a piano roll. And we punch a virtual hole in it. And that says, do something here. And then you assign what it's going to do. So you can use it to play a piano. So when I don't know if I've got any pianos on this album. Pretty sure I don't. But when you hear one of my pianos, it's a virtual piano being played through this thing, or I can assign it to a violin, or I can assign it to a camera, or a drum set, or whatever. It's really cool how much you can do with it. So the way my system is set up is I program everything in MIDI, and then the MIDIs for the cameras sends out a command to my broadcast software actually to change the scene. So it's not actually changing the camera. The cameras are on full time. And then my broadcast software says, switch to the scene titled camera 1, or switch to the scene that is camera 1 zoomed in, or switch to camera 2. And then that is just connected to the camera. So that's how the cameras work. And then the lights, so the lights are all MIDI. They're all in as MIDI commands because that makes it very easy to align everything. And then those MIDI commands go out to a program called QLC, which I think stands for Q Lighting Control. And that turns it into a DMX signal. So it receives the MIDI, sends out a DMX signal, and then that goes out into a DMX control box, which has cables going around to all of the lights, and then that is how that works. Yep, everything is communicated through pre-programmed MIDI commands. It's exactly correct. And that's, excuse me. It's a bit of an oversimplification of exactly what happens, but that's the basics of it. And it works well. It took me a long time to set everything up so that it would work the way I want it to, but I'm pretty happy with where I've got. These are great questions. Thanks so much, you guys. This is really fun stuff here. I really appreciate it. And of course, as always, wherever you're tuning in from, I'm streaming out to 15 different platforms right now. So thank you very much wherever you're coming in from. If I have missed any chat messages from any websites, my apologies. I know if you are on Afrika.tv, I do not see your messages. That's the only one I've never been able to connect. But please know that I do appreciate you wherever you're coming in from. We're going to slow it down here a little bit. Get into some G minor. This song is called The Countdown. Hey, Zarniver! Hey, great to see you, Zarniver. Thanks for coming in. Thank you very much for being here. AZ! Is that an Ibanez RG350 with a Floyd Rose to the back right? That one. That is actually the same as this. These are two Ibanez RG470s. They're the, sorry, not RG, apologies. They are the S470s. They're the Sabre series. And I really like the Sabre series. My left, you talking about the white one? The white one is a Jackson Fusion Special. And that's a pretty cool guitar. That's the one that I learned how to work on guitars on. The next one there is my classical guitar. That's an Aria AC80. And then I've got my my JG, which stands for Giuliano Giovetti. He was an Italian accordion maker in the 60s and 70s and also broke into some guitar making. And you don't see those. They're not like a real high-end guitar, but they're very cool. And that was the second guitar I ever had. My parents got that for me when I was about 11. And then in the middle, I've got my Jackson Rhodes. Next to that, I've got an Ibanez. Sorry, no, not a Jackson bass. I don't even remember the nomenclature. It's nothing special. Then I've got my other Ibanez Sabre, the S470. And then that is Sarah's classical guitar. This is kind of a student model thing, nothing crazy going on there. But I usually tune that one up for alternate tunings and stuff for when I'm doing classical with alternate tuning. So so that's what's going on. And Thrashto, thank you very much. Scenic 1100. Do I sing famous songs? Okay, so this is something that's come up a few times lately. I have been working significantly on my vocals, and I may be in the near future doing some cover tunes. The most common one that gets requested is Tornado of Souls by Megadeth. And so I started setting up a cover tune show. I don't know when, I don't even know for sure if it's going to happen. I hope he does, because I love singing. I'm not great at it, but I've been working very hard at it. I'm proud of my progress. So I've started setting up Tornado of Souls, Crazy Train. Just over the last couple days, I've started setting up my version of Brand New Cadillac, the old Vince Taylor tune. And that one's super fun because I do all this really fun stuff with it. I actually end up kind of morphing it into the Peter Gunn theme. And so that's going to be a riot. Working on a heavy metal version of Ghost Riders in the Sky. I had a few others in there, so I am working toward that. And we're going to see where that goes. Like I said, I'm not going to make any promises on that. I'm just not sure at this time. I really hope that I end up being able to pull that off. We're going to see. I have been practicing singing and playing simultaneously on Crazy Train. And that's going to take a little while. That is going to take a while. It's one thing to sing Crazy Train, it's something else to play Crazy Train, but to do them at the same time, I'm having to practice it really slowly and work through it. So, cool. This is, Scenic 1100. This is not a, and two new followers, Scenic 1100 and AZ. Thank you very much for the follows on Kick.com. No, this is not a green screen. And the lights are all pre-programmed, so yeah, I can go back and actually, move things around there. It's all just set up to do this, and it's crazy setup, and it's a lot of fun. Apprentice, hey, welcome back. I am doing well today, and I hope you are doing well as well. Yeah, S470, just talked about that. It's not a green screen. Thank you very much for the kind words about it being an impressive setup. Yeah, there are swords over here off of camera 4. These are also real. My ninja sword, my Chinese, well, I don't know if it's actually a Chinese war sword. That's what the catalog said. None of them are authentic. It's all stuff. And you can't really see it here. I've got a scythe up on the wall here, like the Grim Reaper. And I am planning to make some other kind of post-apocalyptic weapons for that side. Yeah. I think you're talking about my. I would say I'm more than a professional hobbyist. This actually is my profession. My primary profession is actually teaching guitar. That's where my primary income arrives from, and I love teaching. I shouldn't just say guitar. I teach music. I've got a couple of students who are just composition students. One who's done fairly well selling her compositions for choir music. She's awesome. Her name is Susan. She's in our chat occasionally. And so yeah, teaching is my main thing. I have released a total of 66 full-length albums. We're playing my 59th right now. And so I get a little bit of money. I don't make much money on album sales. And then, I've got a few subscribers here on kick.com and occasionally get tips from this. So again, this is not primary, but I love doing it. So yeah, this is my profession, music. Thank you very much for all of the compliments in here. I really appreciate that. It shows, thank you for the compliments. Very cool. Setup is great and tunes are great. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, and this is what I really appreciate people coming in and being a part of what I do here because it's so much fun. Oh, you've got an authentic scythe from the early 1900s. Yeah, this one's more modern. I have used this. It's functional. We were living over in Western Washington. Sarah and I are in Eastern Washington now. We were in Western Washington. We had this ditch full of weeds out front. And I didn't have a weed eater, so I just take the scythe out. And it wasn't a primary road, but it was a somewhat busy road. Man, there were so many people with like the fist pump and oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, people were totally digging someone out there with an actual scythe. By the way, the website you gave me Kinjaro, you said the website is working. I think you may have meant that it is not working. I'm going to I'm going to go to that and copy paste the web address to make sure that I've got it right. And so if that last one did not work, this one should. And again, I don't know if that will come up as a linkable thing. Looks like it might. So, cool. Did I know that the majority of katanas sold in Japan are made in Toledo, Spain? I did not know that. That is a fun fact. That's really cool. Oh, okay, Kinjaro, totally got you there. Yeah, Zorniver, if you know how to use a scythe, they're amazing. I will say, on the low end of proficient with it. I didn't use it very much, but they're cool. And if you put into practice, man, I've actually known of people who mow their lawns with them, and it's like, dude, get down. I dig it. Hey, cool. This is awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in to my little slice of the streaming world. Let's play some music. We're gonna pick the pace back up here. This one is an E flat minor. And this is for the music theory nerds out there, which I am a total music theory nerd, so that's a compliment. For the music theory nerds out there, this is kind of cool because when you play an E flat minor on a standard tuned guitar, you no longer have a B string. It technically becomes a C flat string, and that is cool. This piece is called There's Something Behind You. All right. Kenjaro 14 says the bucket of blood is really cool. Yeah, that's my initial concept for that album cover was to have an old beat up bucket, but I didn't have an old beat up bucket, and I couldn't find one. I was kind of new in town because Sarah and I have lived here for about 3 years, and so I didn't really know people. I didn't know anyone with an old beat up bucket, so I went down and bought a brand new bucket, and then when I made the fake blood for it, and I actually, there's only like a half inch of fake blood in there. I put a plate inside the top of the bucket and kind of sealed it up with a towel, and then just poured just enough so it would be sitting there, and then it's just sitting out there in front of my garage. I really had a good time making that album cover. That's a really fun album to play too. I mean, I like all of my own music. I shouldn't say that. I like most of my own music. I do feel I've put a few songs out that aren't that great. But that album is really fun to play. It's a nice upbeat piece. Thank you, Prentice. Much appreciated. So we got one song left on this album. Then we're going to flip over and we're going to play Graceful Insanity, which I haven't played. I think I've only played that album like twice before. Only a couple times. It's not a super common one, but it should be interesting. And I've kind of just looked through it and been like, okay, I think I can play all that. So I haven't really practiced it, and we're just gonna hit it and see what happens. But this final song on this album is one of my slowest songs, and normally on the last song of an album I'll kind of go nice and upbeat, to keep the energy up at the end. And this one's nice and slow to finish things out. And then we're gonna flip over. Black Sheep Brooks, cool username. Love listening. Thank you very much. Love having you here. Awesome. So let's do this, and we'll make the changeover. We'll keep this thing going. This piece is called In the Crosshairs. All right, let's do the changeover here. This part's always kind of wonky. Kind of got to talk myself through it. Delete this track. Switch this. This is, I've kind of explained this before. Graceful Insanity. This is my 39th album. This song, first song on this album, is dedicated to my friend Aaron. Aaron, I don't know if you made it in today. I don't know if you got my text. But Aaron is one of Sarah's closest friends. And she's a really cool gal. And now that I'm playing this, I'm realizing that I need to make one quick change, which fortunately is pretty easy. Oh, that'll make things much better, yes. Incomprehensible Isolation is really good. Thank you, Kinjaro. That compliment means more to you than you may realize. It means more to me than you may realize, because that album was, what happened on that, it's the second longest I've ever spent on an album. I spent about 2.5 years on that album. And I've done albums as fast as 5 days from start to finish. Is putting out as many albums as I have. That's, part of the game, really. And that particular album, I started listening to it and I realized that I wasn't hearing things, particularly some of the nuances of the string sections and stuff. And so I really just had to work on the production until I got things to sound correct with the proper clarity. And I learned a lot doing that album, but it was kind of crazy how much I put into it. And it's, so that was my 65th album. My 66th album, of course, didn't take nearly as long because I knew what to do. But I feel like my 65th album may be my best work across the board. And of course, I hope to continue to get better, but we'll see. Ken has Bucket. Thanks for coming in. Don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome to the Mad Poet Show. I look up in chat. I see someone mention a katana. My man using a Boss katana. I am not. They are, in fact, referring to... where is it? This sword over here. My little ninja sword there. That is the reference there. Though I do know the Boss katana pedal. I have used them, and they're great. They're very cool. Yeah, I've got a few swords over there. So it's just an actual katana. Yeah, some people earlier in chat, I don't know how long you've been in, we're just kind of asking about everything. Someone thought that the stuff behind me might have been a green screen, so we were talking about my kind of full setup. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. I hope you enjoy what we're doing, and if you do enjoy it, then I hope you will come back again in the future. And of course, if you don't enjoy it, then, don't. But I hope you do. Everybody get some water. As I said, this song is going out to my friend Aaron. Aaron, if you happen to be out there, hope you are doing great. This is called, off of the album Graceful Insanity, this song is called The 13th Day. I may not be on Twitch too terribly much longer, simply because they're no longer allowing multi-streaming. It doesn't look like they're going to enforce it, but if they do, I mean, I'm streaming out to 14 other sites, and right now it looks like I've got one viewer on Twitch. So, I mean, I've got like 11 people watching on Kick, 14 people on Nono, I've probably got a dozen people watching on Nemo, got someone watching on VK, someone on D Live. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop all that for my one Twitch viewer? No. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing weird stuff with the rest of their stream as well. I noticed in this that I have something I have to rectify. Okay, now you should have me back. Apologies. That was because I was fiddling with stuff to get my base wasn't working right. I fixed it. Totally my problem. My bad. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. So anyway, yeah, it's unfortunate what's going on with Twitch, and it seems like they are unwilling to make good decisions. And that sucks, because good decisions tend to work better than the bad decisions they're making. As of July 1st, they put out a new terms of service, and that one prevents me from multi-streaming, which I'm just gonna keep doing it until they say stop, and then I'm gonna stop by no longer streaming on Twitch. But for the thing that really affected their big stream, I'm small time, nothing matters there. They're big streamers. They made this new rule so that the streamers had to limit how much screen space they could use for sponsorships, for their logos and stuff. And it's like, that's a terrible idea. That's how they make their money. So, Twitch, whatever. On the contrary, I got goosebumps. Oh, Kenjaro 14 is too bad you weren't in last night. I played that album live just last night. It was really fun. Yeah, that is a